Today we have a lot of Bethesda games to go over, and well, let's get straight into it. But first up, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and share, it really helps the channel out. So in 2020, right before the Xbox Series X and S pre-orders went live, Microsoft announced the acquisition of ZeniMax and Bethesda Game Studios. Not only are many games coming, a few of which we're going to go over today, also the technology. Now we're going to start with Elder Scrolls 6, and let's start with letting Todd Howard talk about the technology.
We're building the technology now that is going to fuel our future games.
We're using photogrammetry to scan in all these real-world assets and push our future tech for games to levels we have not done before.
So Bethesda are going to be able to do some really impressive things with photogrammetry in the Elder Scrolls 6. And they have talked about this game. Now, the thing is, they want this game to be an even bigger jump than what Skyrim was to Oblivion. And Skyrim, when that launched in 2011, was impressive, was vibrant, colourful, the detail was unmatched. Having dragons roaming the environment in unscripted events, still to this day, is actually really impressive. They wanting that, but more. They wanting a bigger change, a bigger upgrade to the next game, and honestly, I think they're going to be able to do it. A new engine, new tech, photogrammetry, they're going to be able to have realistic rocks on the ground to realistic looking castles. It's really going to be a next generation jump for RPG visuals. Now they have wanted to carry over the dynamic quest system that was in Skyrim. So in Skyrim there were dynamic quests, as in someone would run across here in a field and ask you to get their shield back or a sword or get something from a tomb. They want to carry that over into the Elder Scrolls 6, but in a bigger way, which is really exciting because those were pretty cool. Let's talk Fallout 5. Now Fallout 5 is obviously years away, and Todd Howard has said that this game is basically a bunch of ideas on a piece of paper. But that's the thing about these types of games. Most of the ideas start up on paper. The amount of lore in these games, the world building itself is all lived in. It feels unique and alive, and they create that for years. Now, Fallout 3 and New Vegas are some of the most beloved games of all time, and some of the most beloved Bethesda games of all time. Now, I believe they want to get back to that. Fallout 4's reception was really good, but nowhere near as good as 4 New Vegas. And who knows? The cards may not be off the table for New Vegas 2 with Obsidian now, given the fact that Microsoft now own both. But when it comes to Fallout 5, they're going to be able to use this photogrammetry tech in even better ways, because they're going to be able to capture what buildings look like in real life and have them in game. This game, when it does launch, whatever year it may be, it's going to be impressive, technically speaking. Now we have to talk about Starfield. Starfield's going to be one of the biggest games of 2022. Not just in scope, but as a new franchise. This is meant to be the third pillar RPG franchise for Bethesda, up there with Elder Scrolls and Fallout. So it's a big deal. It really is. Arguably one of the biggest reasons why Microsoft picked up Bethesda in the first place. This game is going to be massive. Now, like those two other franchises, there's a moment near the beginning of the game where you step out into this huge open world and you realise the adventure you're in for. You realise how big this world is, and it's all open to you. And what's interesting is that Todd Howard, in one of the recent videos, said something about that entire moment that you tend to have at the beginning of a Bethesda game.
Technology's changed, we've all changed, so our expectations when loading up a game, like, okay, I'm gonna step out, and there's gonna be this moment. Us being able to do that and have it feel new every generation, every game, is something that is really special about what we do. I like to say that Starfield has 2 step-out moments. It's cryptic.
Now that's interesting, because the map structure in this game is going to be completely different. That moment at the beginning of a Fallout or an Elder Scrolls game is arguably one of the best moments of the game. It's a moment where you realise how big the world is. But given this is a game set in multiple planets and you're going to be able to travel from planet to planet and explore like a frontier explorer, I think those two moments are going to be these. Seeing the star systems for the first time from inside your ship after waking from cryo sleep, and visiting a strange new world for the first time, because in this game you're meant to be going to already explored planets and also uncharted worlds. So seeing alien planets for the first time is going to be a shock for the player, but also new for you and your character in the lore in the universe. Now, Todd Howard has said that they want this game to not only feel lived in, but they also want it to feel grounded. So Elder Scrolls is very much playing up the fantastical side, and Fallout is always playing up the post-apocalyptic sci-fi elements. Well, in this game, even though it is sci-fi through and through, they want it to feel lived in and gritty and somewhat realistic. And that's a cool approach for the game. Even the starship itself feels like it's been built by NASA or SpaceX. Again, very realistic, which is really cool. Now, you're going to be able to do your traditional Bethesda RPG things in this game. If you see a cup on a table, you're going to be able to pick it up, put it in your inventory, for whatever reason that may be. They want that to carry over to this game. And even though this is meant to be a very lived in, very unique world, they want to feel immersive from start to finish. So everything from toys on the table to dining sets, they want it all to feel like it came from that universe, which is really refreshing, because some games I feel that they inject too much reality and what we already have into these games just to save time. But in this game, it sounds like they're going all out for it, which is really exciting. This is going to be one of the biggest RPGs to date. We do not get multi-planetary, explorable sci-fi RPGs that often. And from everything I've read about this game, from interviews, behind the scenes talk, everything, it sounds like they want to take elements from Skyrim, Witcher, Mass Effect, Fallout, and combine it together, which is so exciting. And this is coming out November 11th, 2022. And they've been pretty dark on this game. They haven't really talked about it that much. And I think Bethesda is wanting to have shorter announcements to releases, because if you remember, Fallout 4 was announced just before E3, and they came out the following holiday. So it leads me to believe that they are going to be going all out with marketing from E3 next year till release, and it's going to be a big time. Now, here's the thing. Like a lot of releases, people have been very skeptical about when it's actually going to release. Is it going to be delayed? I do not believe this game's going to be delayed. This game was in development years before it was even announced. Years. You can even check on social media. People were talking about this game for a long time. This game is going to be a big deal for sci-fi and for RPGs. Developers over at Bethesda sound so enthusiastic and excited about this, because this is so different than Elder Scrolls and Fallout when it comes to the genre of RPGs. And well, take a listen.
Is a journey for us that is very, very rewarding. And coming to Starfield, everybody's starting over and saying, what would you want to do? What does going to space mean to you? And everybody comes back to the same one. I want to see what's out there.
So this RPG sounds really ambitious. You're not only going to be visiting these uncharted worlds, you're going to be visiting lived-in worlds. Worlds with cities, towns, where you can actually go outbound of the city walls, where factions are at war with each other and do quests for multiple different factions. But the cool thing about this RPG, and arguably one of the biggest things, is the themes. Bethesda are planning to make all these planets look widely different. If you look at other big sci-fi RPGs set on multiple planets, the planets don't look too dissimilar from each other. Well, in this game, you're going to have planets that look like they've came straight from Star Trek, or Star Wars, and even Avatar. The art style in this game is going to stand out because they want the planets to feel really unique and different from each other. Now that Bethesda is part of Xbox Game Studios, the game also launches day one in the Xbox Game Pass service, so that's a huge game right there. The game launches on Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, PC, and presumably xCloud devices, so that's a lot of different ways to play the game out of the gate day one. Now, that's it for today's video. If you've enjoyed it, please hit like, share and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications, all that really helps the channel out. All Things Xbox podcast returns in January. Follow me on Twitter where I'll talk about the return of the podcast, and I've got a lot of cool things planned for that. When it comes to 2022, I plan on making even more content on a weekly basis. And I have an idea for this show I want to put on every week that isn't a podcast. It's a new thing, and it's really ambitious, and it's this plan I've had for years, and I'm finally getting around to being able to do it. It's going to take a long time to make each episode, but it's entertaining. So if you want Xbox news, reviews, previews, all that good stuff covering Xbox and gaming, I've got you covered. In 2022, it's going to be a wild year. Anyway, I may be posting more content before Christmas, so stay tuned. I hope everyone has a good Christmas. I'm out. Peace.